Welcome to Speedy Walkthroughs, where we show just the important stuff for beating the game. For first time viewers, this will look different to a normal walkthrough. It shows just the essentials, so you don't need to spend a long time watching this video. Before we get stuck into it, if you find this video useful, consider subscribing to keep up to date. Helps out the channel a whole bunch, and there should be a new walkthrough out each week. Also, feel free to leave a comment if you have any other games you'd like me to cover. So today we're looking at Super Princess Peach on the DS. I'll be taking you through 100% completion, which is pretty much everything you can possibly do in the game. Now, just on screen there is everything that's involved in 100%. One thing to mention is the enemy glossary. You have to kill every different type of enemy in the game. So really important that as you're playing through each level, you're basically just killing all the enemies you come across. And the easiest way to do that is with the fire vibe, which we'll talk about later. So we'll start up the game. You get an opening cutscene in this minigame where you have to drag toads off the screen using the touchscreen. It doesn't really matter how well you do on this minigame, so just get through it. Now we come into the actual level itself, and this is where we start getting 100% stuff. So each level usually has 2 or 3 secrets. For example, if we see a big pink box, there's going to be a toad in there, and that's one of the secrets we'll get. I'll take you through where all those are. I'm actually going out of my way to get a lot of coins here, and we'll use coins to buy stuff. If you're good at timing, there's going to be a really efficient way to get coins. Okay, so there's our first toad. You just hit that box open and keep going on forward. So we'll learn about the vibes here. Pretty much on the touch screen, if you touch any of those 4 hearts, you're going to get various different things. So for example, that yellow one that I touched just there lets you float upwards. So keep going through. We'll go down this pipe here. Really, I'm grabbing coins and stuff, but the only thing you need for 100% is any of the items that I'm pointing out, like the toad before. I'm just going to show you where a few of those good coins are. Here's another one of those items, for example, that you need for 100%, the music there, so make sure you got that one. Alright, once you've done that, we just get the toad from across here. And we got one more toad to grab there. And there's sort of the end of level gate. So I was saying before that you can get some coins pretty easily, and this is one of the ways to do that. So if you manage to stop the gate on a star, usually that's 50 coins, but there's a chance that you get 777. A lot of websites falsely claim this is for getting 7 stars in a row. That's not the case, it's just random each time. But you don't need that many coins to buy everything in the game, so realistically you should be able to get most stuff just if you're able to hit star each time, or if you're playing on emulator save state before you hit the goalpost, and then you'll definitely get star. So yeah, any coins that I'm going out of the way for in the footage, you can almost avoid because I ended up with a few more coins than I needed. Before we go into the next level, we're just hitting R to go into the shop, and we're going to buy these objects here. So we've got float and pound. Float's probably the more important one if you don't have as many coins as I've got at this point. And we'll go into the next level. Okay, so you have to hit the yellow heart here, and that lets us go up there. And you can hit it again here to grab some of these coins. The blue things restore your vibe gauge, so they'll let us float for a little bit longer, for example. And once we got that, we can just go through here. When you're ready, you're just up there and into the pipe. And we want to go into that second one there. Drop down here, you get a puzzle piece, so that's another thing you need for 100%ing, and a toad as well for 100%ing. And we've got another toad there. Just go down here, and that should be the end of the level. Try and hit a star if you can. And we'll just jump into the shop there. We're buying a few pieces for puzzle A there. When you're ready, use your fire vibe on the bridge there. That's the red heart. And we want to go across, use the water one to grow that vine. And then we grab the toad from here. Going across, you need to use your crying one to run faster. So Peach does go faster when you use that blue heart, and that's how you get across the bridge there. We go up here. We got to use the wind one to get rid of this cloud, so that's the yellow heart there. Make sure you're not pressing A to rise up, otherwise it won't work to get rid of the cloud. And we'll try and get a star on the way out of the level. Moving on, next level here, just grab that spring there and bring it across. We can get some coins there and a toad. Once we've done that, just moving across here. We want to go up on top of this bit and slide down just for some extra coins. And then when we come back around, we can go through the pipe. There's a toad just off to the right here. Be sure you got that one. And we want to use our fire vibe to get through the bridge. And we're going to go through here. Now Peach can do a slide attack just by pressing down. That's good for taking out enemies, and it's also good for just getting through gaps like that. Now we'll remind you that if you want that 100% enemy glossary, make sure that you're killing every enemy as you come across it. If you do that, you should be mostly okay to 100% the enemies. There's one enemy that's kind of tricky to get, which I'll talk about later. Keep going through. If you're having trouble killing any enemies, you can just use that red heart to kill them, and that fire attack pretty much always works. Okay, there's a puzzle piece down here, and a toad just down here. Use the fire vibe to get that one. Now, these are hit in a certain order, so you got to hit those colors in order. You watch the toads as they go through to hit the right colors. That wheel, you have to skip one. And then if you hit middle, then bottom left, then top left here. And then we go bottom right and then top right. That should be the correct order for this room. If you ever run out of vibe gauge and you're having trouble getting some more, you can pick up an enemy with the top button on the DS, and then you can duck. And if you duck with an enemy over your head, it will restore your vibe a little bit more. All right, moving on, we've got a boss. Well, we've got a minigame first. So we just got to fling Peach up to the next platform there. And then we go into the boss itself. All right, so pretty much what you need to do is fill its mouth with water. So that's the blue heart to do that. And then once you got that, you can just jump on its stomach. You don't need to ground pound it, but if you've unlocked the ground pound move, you can. Sometimes if the piranha plant's standing underneath a leaf, you can hit it with the ground pound, but not with the normal jump. So that can help you out a little bit. Once you get 5 hits, you're done with the boss. And it's pretty much done with the first world. We get a cutscene and we move on to world 2. Alright, before we go into our first level, I'm just going to go to the shop, get some vibe tea. That'll just make our vibe gauge a bit longer, which is always very helpful. I got the top left here for the first bit. If you float up there, there's a toad to get. I'm going to just jump across the treetops and go into this pipe here. There's a toad to get onto there, and then we just come back up through this pipe here for some more coins. And we got a music as well. When you're ready, just drop down this pipe and grab that toad. And then there's our star. Got a bit of an auto scroller here. So you can see what I'm doing there just to restore the vibe. Knocking over the enemies, pressing that top button. I think it's Y or X, I can never remember. And then just ducking down with the enemies to restore the vibe gauge. Puzzle piece down there, don't miss that one. There's a toad there. Now, if you can't get it with floating like I got, you can hit the yellow heart to float back up. Ride the cloud up here, and we can get that. And then we want to spin that wheel and then go back through the pipe we were just in, and then drop down through the bridge there. Drop down here, we got another toad, and back up through the pipes. One more toad to grab there, and then that's the end of the level. You can see there I got the 777 coins. It's just random whenever you get that if you get a star. Alright, up here for a toad. We're going to spin this wheel here and then go back through the pipe we came from. There we go. Alright, down that pipe, and we got a windy area. Make sure you take out these bullet bills as part of your enemy glossary thing. And again, just any enemy you see, if you haven't defeated it before, try and take it out. Alright, float up here. Don't forget to take out the flowers on the way up. You want to use your wind ability to spin that and open up the door. And then we go through. Alright, next one we got an auto scroller going up here. Alright, we actually unlock a minigame there. I'm not going to do all the minigames until the very end. It's considered part of 100%ing the game. The reason I'm not going to do the minigames until later is because you unlock more levels on the minigames, so I'm just waiting to unlock all the levels before bothering to do the minigames. Alright, take out the bats there. Spin the wheel there to open the door and we get a toad. One more toad to grab there. And then you can just float up here, skipping a lot of the level. And try and get a star if you can. Alright, next one. Gonna go up this pipe here. Now you're gonna run across this bridge, so make sure you've hit the blue heart. And you fire through the bats and then grab the puzzle piece there. Back down the pipe. Okay, now this star guy here, you have to wait till he gets out of the water and jump on his head. If he's not there, keep going back in and out of the room until he spawns. Really important for finishing your enemy glossary. You have to find that star guy 3 different times in the game and beat him all 3 times to get him in the glossary. So that was the first time we saw him there. Alright, try and get a star here. Then we got another mini game and then the boss. I'm just going to get the charge umbrella before we go through there. So he basically is rotating this log here. Try not to hit the thorny things that are coming out of the wall. And up through there, and now we're into the boss fight. Okay, so this boss fight's a bit unique. You got to float up and then fall onto its head. And then it gets rid of the whole platform there. So if you've got the vibe gauge to do it there without a recharge, that's good. If not, you can get its projectiles to recharge your vibe gauge. Alright, coming into World 3 now. With the dry bones, make sure you do actually take them out properly so they go off screen, otherwise it won't count towards your glossary. Like if you just stomp them flat like that, it doesn't count. Alright, there's a music thing to get there as part of 100%. Up to the right, there's a toad to get as well. And then down to this door. Float up to the left there. You've got another toad. And then across here, we can just head into this door. Make sure you take out the boos as well, so flaming those is a good idea. And we get an upgrade here, which just lets us go on these rail things. Alright, slide onto there with down on the D-pad and you'll clear that level off. Take care of the fishing guy, make sure you flame him so he goes towards your glossary. There's stuff to grab in the wall there, so make sure you got that. And up here as well, there's a toad to get. And drop down through the gap. Heading down the pipe here, we're just going to head up and light all 4 of these. So yeah, you got to use your flame thing with the red heart there. And back through here. You can activate these platforms. If you want, you can skip that and just float up. Up the middle pipe here, you want to float up. And just heading through here to grab a toad and then back down the pipe. Alright, and there's a goal. With those platforms just before the goal, make sure you're tiptoeing so you don't fall through them. That's on the L and R buttons on the DS. So if you ever have those crumbly platforms, you basically just hold L or R and you're fine. Okay, continuing on. Grab a toad from there. And we'll head into this door. You want to light all the torches on the way down. And that lets you go down to get this toad. And then down into the bottom door sends you back out. This boo will chase you, and this is actually one of the things in your glossary. So let it chase you all the way there, and then it goes to sleep, you jump on it. Alright, there's a toad here just in this room. Now there are some enemies you can't kill, like the Spark and the Big Spark. Those enemies that you can't kill do go in your glossary just as soon as you enter the level with them. But most enemies you have to kill to get in the glossary. Alright, off to the right here through the pipe. Get a toad, and back through this door. Middle, right, 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 and left. Gets you up to the top there. And you just got to go through this foggy room here. There's a boo that's sort of chasing us, but we'll just ignore that, go through the door. Make sure you tiptoe across those crumbly blocks and get the puzzle piece. There's a toad on the right as well. And there we go. Alright, continuing on, we just bounce up here. So if you want, you can get all the way to the top and then drop down on the right to get that toad really easily. But if you know what spring you're up to, you can also get it just from there. Take care of those boos. The angry boos count as a separate enemy to the normal boos, so make sure you take care of them as well. There's a toad there to grab. And we're just going to head up into this pipe here. Get a puzzle piece there. And you head through this door. I think it's the third to last door from memory. Yep. So this has a whole rotating the room puzzle now. You just rotate it 2 times until you get here and go up the pipe. Deal with the fishing guy and we get a star. Alright, now we're up to the boss here. So the mini game here, basically just got to put the booze away. Tapping them quickly over and over seemed to be the best method for me. So yeah, this boss fight basically has got to light all 4 of the torch things and then you'll deal damage each time. There we go. Alright, next up we're just heading into World 4. Alright, up this pipe first. With these red switches, you just want to go on top of them and use fire. That's how you activate those. And then we'll head up and over. Hit that red switch there as well. Now with this room here, it's going to fill up with like sand / fog stuff. You got to keep using the yellow heart to dissipate that fog. Otherwise you'll take damage, which is not good. Bit of an auto scroller here, so if you're low on your vibe gauge, it's a good time to sort of grab enemies and duck down with them over your head. That'll restore it a bit. Go up over the wall here for some coins and a toad. And then back up here. Unlock a mini game as well. Hopefully get a star. Off into 4-2. I'm just going to get puzzle piece B before that. I've got carriage soda as well. Use the blue heart to get rid of any of those flame guys. This one you just want to hit the switch. And back up the pipe here, there's a toad. Back down the pipe. And up through there. Use the fire thing to put that block down. And then we get a puzzle piece after that as well. Alright, through the pipe there. Hit that switch with the fire and that'll get us a toad. Alright, there we go. Grab the star. And onto 4-3. There's a puzzle piece up the top there to get. And a switch there. Grab the toad and head back. Alright, next up you can just hit that ball up into the switch there. And we get into an auto scroller now. Alright, hit that switch and grab the toad. Now this is another one of those rooms that fills up with the dust, so make sure you're using that yellow heart to get rid of dust as you go through. It's another toad to grab there, and move the red guy down. Try and get a star, and we'll move on. Alright, hit the switch there, and we'll keep going to the right. Alright, float up the top here, and then use the tears to get across the gap because it makes you run faster. Hit the red switch there to grab a puzzle piece. And we'll continue on. Alright, down the pipe there. Alright, next level here. If you ever see enemies all on slopes, you can jump and press the down button to like ground pound or slide down the slope with the down button and you'll take them all out pretty quickly. Grab the toad and head back to the door here. You're going to use your yellow heart to get rid of the dust in this area, otherwise it will cause you damage. Grab the puzzle piece and we'll head down. And fire to get rid of the red switch there, and we'll grab a toad as well. Alright, it's a bit of an auto scroller just going straight up. Just up into the pipe there. Alright, grab the star and we'll move on. Alright, we're up to the boss. So yeah, this is a similar thing as the boo one. So yeah, tapping them really quickly is good. Alright, we got Wiggler there. The way this boss works is you basically just wait till he's coming towards you and then you jump on these things here, the poles. So use your fire to put the poles down and then it flips Wiggler over and you got to jump on the bit of the belly that's flashing a different color. That's basically just what you do with this fight. Repeat it over and over. It'll eventually get dusty, so you got to use that wind ability. And there we go. Alright, we get to pick area 5 now, so we'll head in. Float up here, some coins to grab. Now these sand things, you got to use the tears to get rid of them. You have to sit there for quite a while next to them. Head through the pipe here, grab the cloud, and we can head up there. Alright, use these spears to ride your way across, and then you can float back up. Use the fire to get rid of the bridge there and grab the toad. And you've got an auto scroller here. Alright, up there's a music note, and then there's the end of the level. Okay, 5-2, you just slide down at the start here. With that bit, you just got to hit the ball and it will take out all the blocks. The hammer bros are new in this level, so make sure you take them out for your glossary. Alright, we got an ability. Now, this ability is very funny. You have to use the microphone to shoot the projectile. So, yeah, just basically blow into the microphone on the DS and the projectile shoots out. Some people report sucking rather than blowing to be better noise for the DS to register the microphone, so you could try that as well. Alright, drop down here to get a puzzle piece. Grab a toad from there as well, and we drop down this one and down the pipe. Now those clouds are a bit funny, they just basically bounce you off. Alright, moving on into 5-3. Just before that I'm getting some more vibe tea just to make the vibe gauge go a bit better. Pieces puzzle C. You basically is going to buy everything from the shop as you can. Alright, up the pipe on the right here. Okay, now these are going to fire. Now you see the air's got the little floaty bits in there. If you try and float up with those bits floating around, it won't let you. So you do have to ride the spears across to get to these areas. Pretty much just stops you using the yellow heart to cheese all the puzzles in this game. Bring that one down, we get a toad. Go through here and just down the ladder. Hit the ball into all the blocks. We're going to wind that one so the door opens. And drop down to the right here. Alright, dropping through here. And you want to use your tears to get rid of that one. And down through this pipe here. Again, remember you need the microphone to shoot projectiles out of this one. And there we go. Alright, hit the ball across there. We've got a puzzle piece to get. I'm going to go up into this pipe here now. Alright, let's go down the pipe at the end of the auto scroller. We'll get a toad. There we go, want another toad there. One more down there. You can slide down the hill here. And make sure you take out the cannons because they're new. And that's the end of the level. Alright, into our next one. These chain jumps can be a bit of a pain. You do have to wait for them. It's pretty hard to get over them. Alright, up the top here, we can just float up to this point and use the spear to get back. You see the floaty things in the air just stop us from floating up to the top left at the start. Take out the little chain chomps with your fire ability. And there's a puzzle piece behind this thing here. Grab a toad. Now, we're going to head through the tunnel here. Just take the bottom path and then go up through this bit into the pipe. Down through this bit here and use the tears to get rid of that. Should be a block there that you can hit. We're going to go up through here now. So duck down through the sand and that gets us to this area here with the toad in there to get. Jumping back up through it. Alright, so this is another one of those rooms that has that star enemy. Keep going out into the pipe until you see it and then you want to sneak up on it. So really importantly, that's holding the L or R button to sneak, otherwise it'll jump away. And then jump on it when you're ready or hit it with the umbrella parasol thing. So that should be the second time you've seen the star. Make sure that you got it for your glossary if you want to be 100%ing. Next we got a boss, so we got one of these log rolling mini games first, and then we got the boss itself. So with this boss, you're supposed to use the tears to clear away the floor when it does the oil. But the way you actually damage it is you wait till the tentacle things come and hit those, and then you'll notice its nose start, well, it's like, I don't know what to call that. The thing on the front of its face starts flashing and you can hit it. So just do that a few times and then that's the boss done. Right, moving on to our next world, area 6. So take care of these snowmen, use your fire with those. Drop down that one, grab a toad. Now, if you cry onto the, like those long ramp bits, they turn icy and you can slide through them. So that's how we get through a lot of the parts in this world. Alright, up there, we just got a music score to grab. And all the way up into this pipe. Turn it icy and slide the block across. That's how we deal with that bit there. And then that dude, so make sure you take him out for the glossary. Alright, heading back through where we were just before. You can drop down for some coins and grab the minigame before finishing off the level. Okay, next one. Just go up through here into this pipe, grab a toad and float across the gap. Once you've done that, you can just float up here. There's a few bits and pieces to grab, just some coins and stuff. When you're ready, head down the pipe though. There's a puzzle piece to get there. Alright, head up here and through the pipe. And there's a toad there. So you just grab that and head through to the right. Down this pipe. And we can bounce on this ball thing to grab this toad. And there's the end of the level. Alright, here just go across the floating platforms. Freeze the ground there and up through this door. Want to grab the toad from up there, and then down through this door. There's another toad to grab, so just fire and then grab the toad underneath there. Freeze the platform there, and go into this door. There's another toad to grab there, so just jump up through and grab it, and then drop down into this door. Bit of an auto scroller here, so just working your way through this. Try and take out the bullet bills if you can. And there we go, there's a puzzle piece to grab on the left. Go through and finish the level. We got 6-4 now. Before we do that, I'm just going to get some more stuff from the shop, so tough coffee, for example. I'm also going to get all the minigame extra levels. Now, this actually isn't all of the levels on the minigames. There are some more that we'll unlock later. When you're ready to go onto this level, grab a puzzle piece at the bottom and then float back up. Just head through this door now. I want to go up here, grab a toad, and heading back. Ground pound through there and we'll head up into this pipe. A bit of an auto scroller here. So just working your way through that. There should be a door at the end that you can go through. And a door here to go through. Freeze that, push the block across. And we got a toad to grab there. Now we need to hit that toad with a Koopa shell. That's how we get that one. Alright, there's a toad up the top there. Also some coins to grab, and that box which activates the platforms, which we can jump up. Alright, now this is another one where that star guy is, and this is our last time that we're going to have to beat him. So you can do a little bit of a sneak up. What I did was I hit the tiers and then just ran straight into it, and then hit it with the parasol. That's how I did that one. But yeah, if he's not there, just keep reloading the room. One thing that I will mention is you should make sure the star guy is in your glossary now. Now you can load up your glossary from pressing L on the map, and it'll look something like this. You may not have all the enemies yet, but you should definitely have Starfish, because we've beat him 3 times now. So make sure that's there at number 79. When you're ready, just head into the next level. Got a submarine section here. And through the pipe. Just head down through this one here and keep moving over to the right. Get a puzzle piece there and through this pipe now. Alright, dropping through this one, and we got a bit of an auto scroller to deal with, so take that bottom path. Alright, through the door at the end of the auto scroller, use your fire on that to get a toad. And then we'll head over to the right. Hit the blocks there and we'll make our way through with another toad. Use your fire to get through there and through this door. Take out that guy. And we're going to cloud there. And we can clear the level and move on to our next one. So we've got another mini game. It's similar to the Boo one that we saw before. And then we got a boss fight. So yeah, this dragon's an interesting one. You just got to keep firing it. You're probably going to run out of Vibe at some point during this fight. So do as much as you can to it. And then you pretty much just got to wait till it does these things here. And then you can break them open to get more Vibe. And once you've done that, you're done with the boss. Alright, into Area 7. Here's our first level. Alright, going up here, just run across the platform with the blue heart and power up. Hit that switch to turn on all the platforms. And then we'll grab the toad here. Moving along, drop down this pipe and make your way to the right. Another toad to grab there. And then climbing up this section. Put the wind on there and grab the music note, and that should be the end of the level there. Alright, next level in. Just got to go to the right at the start. Down the pipe here. There's a toad up the top in this bit. And then keep going to the right. You're going to climb up. It's like a vertical auto scroller sort of thing. Once you get to the top, just head to the right here. Use the wind ability on that cloud. And then we want to go down this pipe here. Alright, so dropping down here, got another one of these like roller coaster ride sort of things. There's a toad to the left here. And a puzzle piece. That should be the end of the level. Right into the next one. Down this pipe at the top right. And you can grab some extra coins there if you want. Bit of an auto scroller here, so just work through that one. Once you're out of it, you just want to climb up these balloons and get a toad from the top left. Puzzle piece as well to grab. Now you got a hot air balloon which you need to use the fire ability to rise it up. And there we go, just grab a toad. Another toad to grab there, and we'll drop down. Okay, 7-4. Just heading up here on the cloud for some coins, and then we'll head into this pipe here. Alright, got a toad to grab up the top here. And down this pipe. Just across the platforms here and into this pipe we can spring up. And we got another toad. Go on top of this cloud here and drop down into this pipe just for some extra coins. And then we'll go down here into this one. Got the hot air balloon again, so just ride that up and we should get a toad at the top of it. And then down this pipe here. Alright, there's another puzzle piece to get. And we'll drop down this one. Make sure you deal with that guy on the floaty block, because I think this is the first level where he is. Anyway, 7-5. Just before we do that, we're going for the natural power in the shop and some more puzzle pieces. Some more minigame levels. Now that we're in here, just drop down, go up this pipe. There's a puzzle piece there to grab, and we'll head back out. Back down that pipe we came from, and we're going down this one. Use your yellow heart to get rid of the cloud, and we'll go over to the right now. Jump up there and grab the toad. This area is quite windy, so you just got to be conscious of what way that's blowing before you try and make any jumps. Now, if you can time it, get the bullet bills and bounce on them there. If you can't get that bounce, then you can sort of come out of this room and get it, but it's easier to grab the toad if you've sort of get it there, and it saves you backtracking through this water bit. Anyway, go through the water bit and into this pipe. So that other pipe that we just went past would take you up to the toad if you didn't get it before. Anyway, we've got a boss, so we've got to do the minigame and then fight the boss. Alright, so you basically just got to spin the boss until he spins out like that, and then you can deal damage and repeat that 5 hits and you're done. Alright, next world. This is the last world of the game. And we do have to go through the game twice as well, so if you haven't bought everything from the shop yet, don't worry. Right door, left door, left door. Now these rooms are a bit weird. I couldn't fully figure them out, but that one you have to just stand still. This one you have to duck whenever his eyes open, and then this one you have to be jumping in the air. That was sort of a trial and error thing for me, but that's what worked to not get caught in the rooms. So head into the doors in this sequence, then we're going to go to the right. Grab a toad from there, and back through the door, over to this right door. Grab a toad from there, and we'll head through this door and up to the left one. Once you go through all these doors, you're going to have to float up to the next set of doors and climb the ladder there. And there we go, we'll flip the room twice, 3 times, and 4 times. And then that should let us drop into the pipe there. Grab the music note, and we'll finish the level off. Alright, 8-2. Got a bit of an auto scroller going up here. Once you've done that, just hit the switch up here. And we can hit the switch up there to get the toad. And then float up here. Down this door in the bottom. And climb up and just back to grab a toad here. Alright, into this door. Just going to head up here with the boo, grab another toad. And drop down to get the puzzle piece. And then just drop back down to this door. Down to the bottom door there. Now you gotta cry and run into the wrecking ball thing there. And that should give you enough speed to knock it into the wall. Now with this one here, you have to sort of lure the flames to light the torches there. And that's the end. 8-3 now. Turn on your running ability because there's boos chasing you there. So just gotta watch out for those. Alright, grab the toad. Alright, through this pipe here. And grab another toad on your way out. There's a puzzle piece to get here. And when you're ready, just up through this door. This one I had luck ducking to avoid being caught. Grab a toad there and down into the door. Just want to light all 4 flames here. And then the door will open, allowing you to get through. Alright, 8-4. Just ride the rails across here until you get to the very right. Bit of a submarine section. Now these things will try and enclose on you, so make sure you jump up just as they're about to close. Just keep rotating the room to get around. And get a toad on the left there. And then we just go through here. Use a hot air balloon here. And we can grab a toad there. And then up through this pipe. Another toad underneath there. Head back to the right once you've done that. And through this door. Just grabbing a puzzle piece there. Remember, you got to press L or R to creep on those floors. And that's the end of the level. 8-5 now. Okay, so a bit of an auto scroll at the start. Over to the left here into this door. And we'll grab a toad here. Down the pipe there. And bottom right door. You can use the crying ability so the ghosts don't catch you. And we get a puzzle piece there. There's a toad underneath there. And we can work our way back out. Top door here. So basically you just got to lure the flames onto each of the torches in this room. There's actually a whole bunch of them. And there are multiple points where the flames can spawn from. So just go with whatever's the closest one. There we go. Now in this one I was able to not get caught by just floating in the air whenever his eyes opened. Grab a toad there. And through this door. Drop down that one, and that should take us to the exit of the level. Now we got a boss. So this with the boos again. I can't remember if it was tapping or like rubbing with the touchscreen stylus, but it was one of those which was really good for getting rid of the boos. Down the pipe here. Okay, now we're gonna have, I guess, the final boss fight, although we will be doing the game again to 100%. So there's a few different phases here. First phase, you just gotta look for the red one. So you don't actually need to kill all the other ones. So just keep hitting the red one. That's that phase done. Then we have Bowser. So the flame ability works really well here. Now he'll run into the statues and help you restore your flame ability. Okay, now we have Big Bowser. So pretty much what you want to do is wait till he drops the bombs on the ground and then throw them back up to him. So let him go through his attack cycle and then throw the bombs up. And if you do that again, you take care of him. Okay, so you get a credit sequence, but we'll come back and finish off 100%. Alright, once the credits are done, boot up your file again. We're going to go back into World 1, the very first level, and each world has more things to collect now in each level. So go through, we got a puzzle piece there, another puzzle piece down the bottom, float up. Then we got more music, and that's the end of that level. 1-2, puzzle piece up there. They're often similar to where the original Toads and stuff were, but sometimes they're a little bit different. Puzzle piece down there. And we've got the music down there. Alright, finish off the level. Yeah, I'm basically going into the shop and buying a whole bunch of stuff because I got enough coins now. So I guess what's considered part of 100% is buying everything from the shop. So that's just what I'm going through and doing. Not that it really does anything in the game, but we like completeness. So there's puzzle piece there. Use your tears to get across that bit. Grab the other puzzle piece from that. Drop down and up this pipe. So we're going to use the wind power to get through the cloud. And drop down this pipe. This is also, going back through the game is a really good time to get your glossary finished if there's any enemies that you missed. Some enemies are only in the extra levels for each world, so we won't have a full glossary yet at this point. There's puzzle piece there. Get the music there. And down this pipe. Drop down that bit, that's the level done, and into the next one. So float up for a puzzle piece in that first section, drop back down, and down this pipe. Use your fire to get rid of the bridge there, and down this pipe. These are all the same orders as before, so you got to hit those three. This one, I think it's 1, 2, 3, and then skip one, and then hit the last one. This one is middle, bottom left, bottom right, and top right. Wonderful. And then we want to go through here. And that's the level done. Alright, you actually do have to fight the boss again, but it lets you skip the minigame, which is nice. I won't go through the boss fights in particular because they're pretty much the same, they're just a little bit trickier. Then once you've beaten the boss, if you go to the right from the boss, we got 3 new levels that we can access. So the first level, just go through the pipe there. You've got to hit in very particular orders, so watch the colors before you come into the room for what order to hit those in. Grab some coins there if you want. Watch out for the chain jumps. And again, be killing as many enemies as you can see because some of them are only in these extra levels and you need them for your glossary. With this one, grow the vine that's actually going to grow tall. And once you're up there, down the pipe on the left. Ground pound down through that one and that one. So we want to be hitting all these switches where we can. Float up. And we get a puzzle piece. And that's the end of that one. Alright, for the next level, just going to the pipe on the right. Alright, there's a puzzle piece there to grab. Alright, now we're back into World 2, so back into 2-1 here. You want to go up to grab this puzzle piece, and then back down through the pipe we came through. Up into this pipe here. Down through this one, there's another puzzle piece. And then off to the right. There's music bit. And up into this pipe on the top. And there's the end of the level. Back through this one, we got an auto scroller at the start. And through the pipe. Drop down for that puzzle piece. You may need to use the yellow heart to get up through it. Alright, over onto the right here. Make sure you try to make that water wheel active and then back through the pipe we came from, down into this one. Alright, there's a music piece to grab there. And we'll go up back through this pipe. And to the right of the water wheel, there's a puzzle piece and the end of the level. Alright, next one, we're just going to go through here, float up. and up through this pipe. There's a puzzle piece up there to go, and back down through the pipe we came from. Hit the water wheel, go back through the pipes the way you came from, and back into this one. This is a windy area, so we're going to go through here, grabbing the puzzle piece, and then back through the windy area. Go to the right top pipe here, and then start climbing up this section into the pipe, and up through here. You can use your floater to skip a little bit of the level and go left through that. Use your wind ability there to grab the music note, and then back through the right to finish the level. Okay, next level here, we got an auto scroller going up, so just work your way to the top of that. Once you're there, you can use your tiers to get across here and get the puzzle piece, drop down the pipe. Just jumping up across this section, use the fire to get rid of the bats, and we're going to go through here, use your wind ability and grab the puzzle piece, then we head back through the pipe we came in. Over to the right now, and we get another music score. And we want to just float up here, that skips a little bit the level, and that's the level done. Next, we're just going to go over to the right here, up through this pipe, use your tiers to get across here, and then your fire ability to get the puzzle piece. When you're ready, just go back and into the pipe that we came from to get in here. Next, drop down this pipe and grab the puzzle piece, and then back down through this pipe. And that's the end of the level there. We got the boss again. It's pretty much the same as the previous boss, so try and get up above it with your floaty ability and dropping down onto its head. Alright, once you're on the boss, we got the access to the last 3 levels in this section, so these ones are a bit new. Just going up here, you got to ride the arrow across. Don't try and use your floaty ability there, it won't work. Fire the bats and then down this pipe here. Going across, use your Liquidu Cloud to get up there, and you can ground pound through the blocks there to get the puzzle into our next one here. Use your fire ability to get rid of those, and we're going to hit the block there and go through, get the water wheel and through the pipe, up the ladder, and then you can use the wind ability to get rid of the cloud there and down through this pipe. When you're ready, just heading through, grabbing the puzzle piece now. And that's the end of that level. Okay, now one note about this, your glossary should be complete at this point. So I will go through the whole glossary there. So you just have a read and make sure you got your enemies. So yeah, just taking it back from the start, it's page 1, page 2 and 3, 4, 5 and 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12 and 13. So if you're missing any enemies from the glossary there, just make sure you keep an eye out for them in future levels. But at that point, we should have all the enemies, if you've been like killing everything you've seen. Alright, into this, we got the submarine section. So just head down through here and into this pipe. You can slide down here to get a puzzle piece, and that's the end of this level. We're going to go back into world 3 now. We're going to beat the original levels again. So up the top there's a puzzle piece, then just go back from it. Float up to the top left here to grab a puzzle piece and head back through the door we came from. Go down into this pipe and up into the top right to get a music bit. And then back down into the pipe we came from. And then through the left door. Go through this door. And then progressing on through, we should be able to get towards the end of the level. There we go, you just ride this thing. That should be the end there. Next level, float up to get the puzzle piece there. Down the pipe, float up here, and we want to get another puzzle piece there. And down this pipe, light all the torches. And then that should open up this door. You can activate all these and go through this door, up the middle pipe now. We're going to go up through this little bit and we get a music bit there and back through the pipe we came from. That's the end of the level. Next time we're going to float up and just go up through this door here. Hit the block on the top right of this room, grab the puzzle piece after that. And then we'll go down the pipe here. Into this door, we can drop down, light the 4 torches to get the puzzle piece down the bottom. Then once you're back, drop down and go into this door. Just bring us through this door, let the boo chase you to the end until he goes to sleep, jump on him, And then we just head through this door. And if we go up through this bit, there should be a music at the end. And through this one brings us to the end of the level. Right, next one here, just up top left is puzzle there. And once you get the puzzle, just down to the pipe on the right. You're going to go through this little course bit and get a puzzle piece at the end of that. And in the middle door, right door, right door, right door, left door, and through the pipe. Around this room, we just go through a pipe at the top and through the door on the right. Across here, we get a music note, and that's the end. Alright, up here, bring these springs up. Once you get to this one, you can go to the right and get a puzzle piece. If you're having trouble timing that, wait till you get to the very top and drop down on the right. Up through these pipes, and we want to light the torches here. Once you've done that, through the door, we grab the puzzle piece and back through the pipe. Just float up there, it saves you going through the whole detour bit. Up through here and down into this door. And then we're going to go across some blue platforms. Down through this room here into the pipe and rotate the room. I'm going to rotate it twice and then go up through this pipe. Then we get the end of the level. And we have the boss again, so just get through the boss there. Remember, you light the 4 torches to deal some damage. Once you've done that, we unlock new stages. So just go up to the right here and hit that block, and that opens up a new path for us. So once you got that path open, just float up into it and head over to the right on the top of the room. Use your crying ability to get rid of that bit and start lighting all the torches. So these ones here. Those enemies are going to cause the room to shake, so make sure you're jumping before they do their thing. And ride the platforms up here into the door on the top left. And into this door. Ground pound through to get the upgrade there. And we're going to clear the level. Anyway, once you go through here, break all the blocks, get through here. Go down the pipe here. And we want to rotate the room. So you can skip a few of the rotations there and just go straight up into the pipe. Activate the wind there. Make sure you've done it for long enough that the door will open here, because you don't want to have to backtrack. Once we've done that, next level. So ride the springs up and into the pipe on the top left. I'm going to go up on this course here and up into that pipe. Use your Tears ability to outrun the ghosts. You get a puzzle piece there, and that's the end of the level. We're going to go to world 4 now and into the first level again. So up the pipe here, get a puzzle piece, and then use fire to hit that switch. Alright, make sure you're using your yellow heart ability to get rid of the dust here. Across there, get a music, and down the pipe there's an auto scroller, so we'll get through this one. And once you've done this, just down there to get a puzzle piece, and then back up through here, and that should be the end of the level. Next one, just going through here, and down this pipe. We're going to hit that red switch to open that up, and then back through the pipe. Get a puzzle piece there, and then just head back down through the pipe. And then we can jump up into this pipe here. Use your fire ability to go down here and get the puzzle piece, then off to the right. Once you've done that, just keep going through down this pipe. Ride that thing all the way to the right here through the pipe there. Hit the red thing, and you get another music thing. That's that level done. Alright, going through this one, up through that pipe there, and you hit the red switch, and we go and get the puzzle piece there, and then bring it back. Down this pipe here. Alright, throw the ball up into the switch there. Make sure you're using your orange heart wind ability thing here to get rid of the dust. And up into that puzzle piece there. Next, get this music note and drop down through this guy into the pipe. And then that should be the end of the level there. Next level, hit the red switch. And then work your way across to the right into this pipe here. And use your tears to run across there, grabbing a puzzle piece at the top and into this door. Once you got that, you're going to float up here and into this pipe. Hit the red switch there, and there's a puzzle piece up the top. So grab that and then fall back down. Once you've done that, you can float up here and grab the music and then off to the right, and that's the end of the level. Next one we got here, just jumping up here and into the door. Alright, use your fire ability to get through the bridge there. And we want to get into this door now. Use your tears ability to get this puzzle piece. And we want to go into that one. Down the pipe here. And we're heading through this door. That's the end of the level. Got the boss again. So again, just use the fire ability to push down the platform and then jump on his vulnerable point. Alright, once you've done that, we're into the 3 extra worlds, or 3 extra levels for the world. You can ride the platform across there, or if you're brave, you can try and float across. But at any rate, just get into this screen, head over to the right. Down this pipe here. I'm going to ground pound through here, and then you can actually just hit sideways through the blocks. You don't have to go up and down. There's a puzzle piece there that we get, and that's the end of the level. Next one, ride the balloon up, hit that switch, ground pound through, and try and avoid the fire anyway up through here into the pipe there. Alright, up through these pipes, you get the puzzle piece when you go on that one. And we'll go up through that one, finish the level. This one here, just jump across the lava and down through the pipe. And ride this thing. You can go through that pipe on the top there. Get rid of that guy with your fire ability and grab the puzzle piece, and then that's the level done. We're actually into World 5 now. Okay, so World 5, we just keep going to the right here. Use your tears ability to break that guy and get the puzzle piece. Next, just heading to the right in this room. Float up to get the puzzle piece there, and then back down, float up here. Break the bridge there with the fire, and we get the music score, and down the pipe here. It's a bit of an auto scroller. So once you get to the end of that, just go to the right, and that should be the end of the level. Alright, next one, hit the ball through and go through the pipe. Alright, grab that puzzle piece there. Alright, through that pipe there. Try and avoid all these guys. And we can break the bridge there for another puzzle piece. And head down through that bit. Through the pipe there. And we can drop down here. Get a music score. And back up. Drop down through this one and we'll go through the pipe. That brings us to the end. Next one, ride the spring up. Pipe's on the top right there, so we'll go through that. Hit the switch and that'll activate all our platforms. Now remember, you can't just float up there, you got to ride the spears across for that one and into the pipe. There's another puzzle piece just here. And we're going to go down into the pipe in this bit. Alright, down in this pipe now. And use your tears to get rid of this guy. Up into that pipe there, got a little submarine auto-scrolly section. Okay, once we're through that, just heading out to the right, and that's the end of the level. Alright, ride the cloud up here. Just get some more coins. Up through this pipe in this bit. And you get a puzzle piece at the end of that auto-scroller. Down through this pipe, hit the ball, and you get another puzzle piece up into this pipe now. So just dip back to the left to grab the music note, and then back to the right to finish off the level. Alright, so down through these pipes. And that should be the end there. Alright, next one. Just down through the pipe at the start. And we're going to go down the pipe here. And ride the arrow to the left, grab the puzzle piece. And just down this pipe on the right now. Grab puzzle piece there, and we'll head into this pipe and through the submarine section. Alright, taking the bottom path, just getting the pipe on the way out. And we'll go up into this pipe here. Alright, reveal the switch there, and then we can hit the pipe. Progressing on just through that top pipe there, and down this one. And that's the end of the level there. We've got the boss again, so just same thing, hit its nose thing when it's vulnerable. Alright, that unlocks our new stages. We're going to go to our first one. Down this pipe here. And we're just going to go up. And through that one. Now you have to ground pound the ground to get the spring down, and I've found that facing away from the spring helps it go in the correct direction. I'm not sure if that is actually a thing or not, but at least it worked for me. Alright, into this pipe here. And we're going to float up through the blocks there, hit the switches, and then work our way back. Got a puzzle piece to grab up there. And that's the end of that level. Got a bit of an auto scroller here, so just work your way through that. Alright, into the pipe at the end. Then we're going to jump across this bit. Down that pipe. And we can hit the switch up there, reveal the puzzle piece and float back up to the end of the level. And now we're back into area 6. Okay, so go through here, drop down this one to get a puzzle piece and down through the pipe. Freeze that one, get the music score, go across here. Use your fire ability, grab the puzzle piece and up through this pipe, down through this one, and that's the end. Next level here, just up through this pipe on the right here. Grab the puzzle piece and float up through this bit. Keep floating across. And we go up here now, into this pipe. There's a puzzle piece there to get. And then just go back to the right and back down through this one. There's a music score there. And that's the end of that level. Go across here. Got a snowman there, blocking the door. Freeze this platform to get through. Drop down through here, grabbing the puzzle piece, and through this door. Another puzzle piece to get there. Alright, through that door there, we can just get the music score there, and drop down into this door. Got an auto scroller here, so just get through to the end of that. And then that's the end of the level. Alright, next one here, you can just go through this door right at the start and get rid of those ice guys and then come back out. Next, just get through this section and you can melt the snowman there to reveal the door. Push the block to the right and we get a puzzle piece there. Down through this pipe here. And we get the music score there. Down into this pipe, and that's level done. Alright, go down into this one. And just work your way through the submarine section. There we go. Alright, down that pipe. We just go through to the end of this bit. Take the bottom half here and get rid of the ice guys through the door. And then you can get a puzzle piece up the top here. Alright, we've got the boss again. So again, just use your fire ability on this guy. Alright, beat the boss to get some new stages. First one here, just hit the switch on the left and climb up the blocks there. You can ground pound the ball down to hit the switch. Remember, facing away from it seemed to help me at least, so try that if you're having trouble getting it down. down this pipe here to get a mini game. So this is what I meant before, we could buy all the Toad Jump minigame levels, but you can unlock more here, so that's why I left the minigames till last, so we can do it all in one hit. Alright, jumping up across here. Got a mini game there. And that's the end of the level there. Drop down here. And just up across the springs. Freeze the ground there and push the block to the side. Keep pushing it back and forth. And there's a switch inside it, so we'll hit that. Float up over the pipe here and bounce on this guy. And there's a mini game there at the end. And that's that level done. Now we're into World 7 again. So just down this pipe at the start and climbing up this section. Run across there, get the puzzle piece, and then we're going to go through. Hit that switch and activate the wind, get that puzzle piece up the top, and then come back out. Grab the music score and through the pipe. It's going to head up here. And that's the end of the level. Right across to the right. Down the pipe here. And grab the puzzle piece and then make your way back to the right here. Get to the top of that section and then over to the right. Use your wind ability to get that puzzle piece. Down this pipe here. You ride the rails until you get to this pipe. And we've got a music score on the left. Back through the pipe we just came from. And that's the end. Alright, next one here, just keep going to the right, down this pipe. Get through the auto scroller and then we're going to go up to the top left. Use your wind ability and we get that puzzle piece. Back to the right. Use your flame ability on this guy and through the pipe up the top there. And wind to get this puzzle piece now. And then back over to the right. Alright, grab the music note and down the pipe here. Grab the star. Alright, grab the puzzle piece there. And down this pipe, use your wind ability, and then just up to the right. Flame ability again here. Just coming up the top left to grab the music score and then back down this pipe. There we go, that's the end of that level. Watch out for this guy, then on the pipe on the right. Use your wind ability for that puzzle piece. Down this pipe here now. And just riding the platforms up. Use your wind ability to get rid of that. Drop down the bottom. And just through the pipe. In the original run through the level, we used to have to go up the top left there, but there's no item up there this time. So drop right down to the bottom of this section. And keep going through. And you'll get a pipe right at the end. And then just run to the exit. I got the boss again, so use your wind ability to spin him and then attack him. Alright, we'll get our new stages and we're heading to the last 3 for this world. Just over to the right now. Pipe in the top right there. Use your crying ability to get this vine to grow. And then go up into the pipe at the top. Make your way through the auto scroller. And we get a mini game right at the end. And that's the end of that level. Over to the left to start this one, hitting the switch. And then we want to go into that pipe, jump up over these ones. And down this pipe here. Get a mini game there. Alright, into this pipe here now. Ride the rails across. This one here has switches you can use to change the wind direction. So I'm going to change that back and then duck through there to get the mini game. And then we're into World 8 again. Through the pipe here. There's a puzzle piece underneath there. Going to go in the door on the right, then the left. Puzzle piece there to get. And through this door. Now with this one here, I've just been able to stand in place. This one here, I duck in place. And then this one here, you want to be jumping and floating when he opens his eyes. Get the music score there, and through these doors. Float up the top here to get to this door, and then up through that one. Rotate the room. To get your fourth time, you can head down the pipe there, and that's the end of that level. Go through the auto scroller until you get to the top here. And then float up left here. Open that up to get the puzzle piece. And then back up here. Into this door. And then into the next one. Back over to the left to get that puzzle piece there. And then up these platforms. Take care of the boo, get the music score, and then drop back down. And use the tears to get rid of that. And then across to the right here. Into this door, and then you want to light all the flames. That brings you to the end of that one. Use your tears right at the start so you don't get caught by the ghosts. And up there for a puzzle piece. Back down here, we want to ride the rails across. Into that pipe there now, another puzzle piece to grab. Alright, use your tears to get through that bit. And into the door up here. This one I've found that ducking makes you not get caught by the dude. Got a submarine area to get through now. Music note up there. And down through the door. Light all 4 torches. And that opens this door here. That's the end of the level. Ride the rails here all the way to the right. Get through the submarine section. Try not to get caught by this thing and get through the pipe. Rotate the room twice. And 4 times up through the pipe there. Puzzle piece is just on the left, ride the rails to the right. And get the hot air balloon. Up on the left is a music score, then up through this pipe here. This puzzle piece there, just head back after the puzzle piece, and then in the door on the left. There we go, into that door on the top, and this should be the end of the level. Next level starts off with an auto scroller, just get to the end. Over to the left once you've done that. Puzzle piece there to get. And head through this door. You want to light all the torches in this room. It's quite a few to light. Once you've done that, this should all open up for you. Make sure you're floating in the air when this guy opens his eyes. There's a puzzle piece there to get. And head down through the door on the right. Puzzle piece down there. And through this pipe, head up on top of this bit. And then drop down this bit here, and that should take you to the exit. Alright, we got the boss again, so go through the original Bowser fight you did. When you get to the third phase of Bowser, I was only able to hit him once per cycle. So that's just the second phase there. In the original one, you can throw multiple bombs at him. For some reason, I could only really get one to hit per try. And then he also activates this extra like barrier thing that you want to get rid of as well. Now you'll actually get the credits again, but there's still more to do. There's 3 more levels at the end of Bowser's thing. So this is the first extra level here, just off to the right. Up through this pipe here now. And we want to run through this section, dropping down there. Once you've done that, you've got a mini game there at the end, and that's the end of that level. Next level here, just get all the torches lit. And through this door. Knock the spring down by ground pounding the floor, and then get the pipe, float up the top here. Run away from these guys. And that's the mini game there. Alright, through here you want to float when this guy is looking. And through the pipe up the top. Into that pipe there. And you can get a whole bunch of coins there in the last mini game. That's that level done. Now we're pretty much going to go through and clean up 100% now. So when you're back on the map, if you press L, it'll bring up all the options, and I'm going to do puzzles first. So with the puzzles here, I will show the puzzles just so you can see how it's all done. But you can rotate the pieces and then you can sort of drag them into place. Now, if you don't have all the pieces for completing these puzzles, they're in levels / in the shop. You can buy some pieces. And the puzzles gradually just get more difficult as there's more pieces to fill in. And it should be the last one here. And there we go. So that's all the puzzles done. And then we go to mini games. So this is the Toad jump first. You have to blow into the DS microphone to make him jump. I won't show all the Toad jump because you basically want to not hit the enemies. So I will show just the last level here. But yeah, a longer blow into the microphone will make you jump higher. So that's just what you got to do there. Then we go back to our next mini game. So with this one, you just got to drag him around the screen and try not to hit any of the lava. And this is like what the last level looks like on this thing. So patience is key here, I guess. There we go. And then we got that last mini game, Toad shot. So you just got to hit the balloons, really. And there we go, that's what the last level looks like there. Okay, so that should be pretty much 100% of the game done. So if you've done everything, that means you got all these mini games done. So all 30 levels in total. Your glossary should be full, so I'll just show through all the enemies here now. Hardest one to get is the starfish guy. And we should have all the puzzles done as well. And you should also have everything bought in the shop and also have everything in the music collection. Got the bonus, which is all the Perry's Dreams. And in the shop here, we can get the Endless Vibe there as well. Once you've done that, there's pretty much nothing else to do in the game. There's no real confirmation for 100%ing the game, so you pretty much just got to scroll through all those menus and have a look. That'll be all for this video. I hope you found it useful, and thanks so much for watching.